point for people. I think it's just one of those gates I think that people just pass through and pretty much ignore, because I would have hoped that there was a little bit more work going on here. But I think this is I think it's a common theme, I think, in the subcontinent, in that you get a lot of these historical buildings and sites, and what really is missing are sort of commissions or things set up to try and preserve the buildings and try and keep their history alive. Because I think, the sad part is, you know, if they lose this in the next sort of 15-20 years, you're not going to get this back, and this has got a lot of history going back a few hundred years. You can put as many skyscrapers, I feel, as you want, but I think once you lose something like this, it's not something that you get back quite easily. This gate actually is not, I wouldn't even call it a gate. This is like a, it reminds me a bit of you know, when you enter a castle, you have that that bridge area that you go, especially some of the more better castles that we've got in England. Some of the ones that are still open up to tourists. But actually, having said that, I just noticed there's a sign here that says Media and Tourism Information Centre. Let's have a look. So there must be something going on here, but the thing is, it's actually closed. There's nothing here, but it's a bit early. I am here early. And actually, maybe another thing, it's being used for some purpose as well. I think they've got there's a bit of traffic now, a bit of congestion. Need a traffic warden, and they've got, I think I've just seen a sign, so I think somebody's using it for their shop. Selling handicrafts. So yeah, just looking at this, they've got a plaque here as well with the history of it, and it just says that I just found a plaque that's got the history of the gate, and it pretty much says what I was saying out when I was outside about how it was built during the Mughal times, and then it was destroyed by the British, and then it was reconstructed as to how you see it now. So, and it's got, so they've got a program called the Walled City Preservation and Restoration, governed by the Walled City of Lahore Authority, Delhi Gate. So yeah, it does seem that they're doing something which is good, because I don't want to see, you know, you don't want to see buildings like this disappear. It's just nice walking through here. It's very dark inside. I think I'm the only one in here. Definitely, it's a nice start for the morning. I just found something interesting. So let's see what I've got a bit further down the road. Walking down their street here, I get a lot of looks from people as well, you know, because I'm wearing a turban, and I'm a bit of a novelty for some of them. I've had lots of people take selfies with me. I think one day about 50 to 60 people took selfies with me, ranging from a 3-year-old kids to a guy who's about 90 years old. And yeah, it does take you back a bit. I got stopped this morning as well, just before I came here. There was a student. He parked his motorbike up, came running up, and asked for a selfie. So I thought, okay, why not? Why not? I took one with him as well. Repay the favour, I guess, or the compliment. Not a favour. Yeah, a lot of activity early on. I think it's getting. I think the people are gearing up. I think there's a lot of food here as well. So I think once we'll probably pass a couple of hours here, I think this place is going to liven up. I think this place is going to be busy. So I think I've caught it in the best of time, because it's relatively empty. So yeah, just looking at the sides here, it's just relatively empty, but I think in a couple of hours, I might come back in a couple of hours, see what it's like. Because I think when the shops open up, when the shutters come up, I think it's going to liven up here. Just notice some of the work here on this street. If you have a look at some of the woodwork that's done here, you don't really see things like this anymore. Just looking at these kind of structures, there's not that kind of work done. I think on new buildings, you definitely not get anything like this anymore. So I think it's good to see, and there's quite a few buildings here actually that have got this kind of effect. So I think it might be like a feature of this street, because looking at the other buildings as well, you generally get the ones brick and plaster, but the wood one, there's another one here. This is fantastic. Looking at this one, a lot of work has gone in here. Very traditional. Very traditional. So just walking in some of the streets down here, it's this is definitely different, because there's a lane here that it is so narrow. Just going down here, it's just. So I was just walking around some of these streets in Lahore, and I found something really different. There's a street here that, to be honest, you can get stuck in here, and if two people were here, they would definitely get stuck. I mean, look at how narrow this is. Whoa. This is something else. This is so claustrophobic in here. This is freaky. This feels like they're going to cave in on you. It is so narrow. It is probably not even it's about a foot, not even a meter. Probably a meter actually, looking at it. But it just feels so narrow, claustrophobic in here. Two people walk down here, opposite directions, they're going to get stuck. Two people are traffic jamming here. But just look at this. I didn't realise streets like this existed. Just looking at it, and the thing is, it's just a few floors up as well. So there's an open window there. I saw an old couple in there. I don't want to film them. Don't want to scare them. But looking at this is different. This must go back a few centuries as well. There's a lot of history in these hidden places. Definitely off the beaten path, as they say. What a street! What a street! It just feels very dark here. It actually reminds me of, you know, sometimes when you're in places like maybe Manhattan in New York, where you get a lot of skyscrapers next to each other, and it's dark on the ground. It's like that here. It's cold as well. Outside, when you're out in the open, it's quite warm. Here, it just feels, it's freezing. It's absolutely freezing. I should have bought a ski jacket and woolly gloves coming here. But yeah, definitely this is worth seeing. This is something different. So I think it's well worth a visit if you're here in the city. It's not too far from Delhi Gate. A bit further down on your right, you can't miss it. Once you see it, you'd think, hang on, is that a street? But I think definitely visit if you're here. I say definitely come to these types of places because they're hidden gems, I feel. I'm here at another street, Gali Surjan Singh, which has been, chatting to some of the locals, it's been renovated and done up, and there's a lot of renovation work that went in, so it's quite a tourist hub. Quite a lot of people visit it, and it's something that attracts a lot of visitors who come here. And it's definitely something different because it's one of the more well maintained streets that I've seen here. Just looking at it, I think it's one of the ones which the government, I think, have spent a bit of money on and try and get some restoration projects underway, because I think tourism is a big part of the government's plan for revenue generation, which I think is a good thing because there's a lot to see here, a lot to do, and I think tourism hasn't been exploited that well, I don't feel. But looking at this street, if they do things like this, this will definitely attract a lot of people. See, a lot of work done here. They've renovated the ground. They've done a lot of the sidewalks. They've set up seating areas here, as you can see. A lot of people gather here in the evenings, sit here, play cards, play chess, or gossip about their families, their husbands and wives or whatever. So yeah, I'm sitting on one of the areas actually, and yeah, to be honest, it's not bad because they've got lights as well, which they put on in the evening, and I think it's good actually. It's a good little area for people to get together, because I'm not sure where maybe the nearest open space to here is, but if the youngsters and the others and the elderly get together in this area outside, it's a pretty good area for chilling out. I think it's a good something different to see. I wasn't expecting this actually, but it's just something that I stumbled on. It looks worth coming to. I think it's something that if you're a tourist, definitely come here. It's something different. It's different from the usual sort of sites that you'll see, because it is something a little bit unique in terms of an area with lights. You can't see them at the moment because there's an area above, because they just celebrated Eid a while ago, so they decorated the first floor of where the houses are, and it's covering up where the lights are. But this area is actually lit, and I'll try and get some images of the lamps. So yeah, definitely it's a one-off, because you don't get many streets like this that will have street lights. So that's definitely a first. Definitely worth coming to. Just walked a bit further down from where that street was, and I've noticed at the end of the street there's another gate actually, and this time it looks as if it's still in its original structure actually, because it hasn't been rebuilt. So you can see the original structure still there, and the brick is actually smaller than the one that the deli gate was previously rebuilt with. So this looks like the original structure, and it's I think after 1857 this has been left as it was, and it's in disrepair. And to be honest, I mean, I don't think it should be rebuilt. Maybe just make sure that no bricks fall off, because you know, there's some parts of it that look as if they look as if they might come off. So maybe just hold them there. But it's good to see this one actually, because this hasn't been rebuilt. So this looks like the original structure that was built during the Mughal times. So this is definitely a good find at the end of the street. I wasn't expecting this, because this is actually quite close to the Wazir Khan Mosque, which is just a little bit further ahead from me, just over here. So it's in that area, and it's quite a historic area. There's so much here to see, and because I've arrived here early morning, it's something that I can walk around in and see that with quite a lot of freedom, because it's not busy. I think if there's a lot of rush here, I think it's something that you're gonna struggle to see a lot, because from what I was told by the locals is that this place gets jam-packed. You know, when it's past 10 o'clock, and then once you hit that time, yeah, you're gonna really struggle. That's when the sun is out. In fact, you know what, the sun is out now as well, so it's hot now. In a couple of hours it'll be hotter than this, and walking around here is going to be a struggle. People are out and about, going about their daily business. It's not a lot of activity here in terms of food. I was looking for somewhere to eat something or drink something, but I can't find much here. There's a couple of stalls, but I thought I'd wait for an hour or so and see what I can find. But it's good to see those two gates, the Delhi gate and the one at the end. It's worth seeing, it's worth exploring. There's a lot of history in here, there's a lot of streets in here, and I've only gone to a couple of them, the ones that I saw originally. But just walking down here, there's a lot more that you can explore, there's a lot more that you can see, and maybe I'll come back and revisit it when it gets a bit busier, because I want to see what it's like then, see what the atmosphere around here is, see if a lot more stands and stalls open up, because once the shops open up, I think they will come out a lot more as well. You know what, I actually thought that said wine tax. I thought, when has Pakistan started selling wine? So I misread that. Wintex. Don't know where wine tax came from. I don't even know what wine tax means. But if ever there's a shop for wine tax, this is not the one. If you're looking for it, you're not going to find it here. So I found another interesting place just walking outside the open streets here, and I just came past that gate, and there's a well that I found here, Dinanath Well, which is there's a bit of history here as well, that was built during Emperor Shah Jahan's time. It's a good few hundred years old. Shah Jahan was the one who built the Taj Mahal as well, and so just having a look at this well is a similar style of brick to the gate that I just saw, so I'm assuming that gate is a similar age as well. But looking at this well, they're trying to do as much as they can to preserve it, because there's a lot of encroachment here by buildings and traders, and so they've taken up a lot of the space, but they've actually put a outer area, a wall around the well to preserve it. But you know, it's another you know, historical site, and I think it needs to. And they need to do, you know, as much as they can to preserve these. But just looking at it, this area, you can imagine this is a hub of activity, because you know the encroachment that's done here. A lot of, you can't blame people for encroaching, because people have got to earn a living, and traders will go where the people are. And so it's one of those ones where it's a catch-22. What do you do? The whole area actually is very, very nice. The Wazir Khan Mosque is just here. So I'll try and visit that in a bit, and just found this well, and I thought this is quite an interesting site to see. Looking at the dome, it just looks fascinating as well. A lot of work must have gone in during those times when they were building these, because that sort of architecture you don't really see anymore. So it's one of those things that, you know, once these buildings disappear, then that's lost. So it's good to see that there's preservation work going on, and there's a foundation that's been set up to renovate this. And I think they've done a good job in blocking that off, because otherwise I could imagine there'll be people close up to it setting their stands and stalls up, and once they do that, it's just going to damage it even more. So I think they've done a good job in it, and I think actually this is one of my favourite areas that I've seen so far, because it just looks very historical. There's so much history here, and people, I think, once they start packing this area, I think then you really see it come alive. But I think, yeah, I like this. Best area so far within the city of Lahore. A lot of the other areas tend to be modern. There's a lot of greenery. I must say, for a city, there's a lot of greenery here. I wasn't expecting that. everywhere you go here, pretty much there's greenland, there's parks, some even private parks have opened up, so they're good to see as well. But this area itself, I think, reminds me a bit of the Jama Masjid area in Delhi.